Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Happy Friday. Switching it up this week. Happy Friday. I did record an episode yesterday. Couldn't get it to post because of my Wi-Fi struggles, which I'll get into in a second. But then I had something happen this morning. So I am redoing the episode and now I actually get to make a video. Whereas yesterday I was just going to do Spotify and not YouTube, but I get to do the video. And again, I'll explain all that happened because this episode is going to go over the past month of my life, the past month of an absolute fucking struggle. Um, and I haven't decided yet if I still want to release what I recorded yesterday, even just on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, because I think you'll be able to hear even the difference in my voice and in my attitude and in my tone. Today's video and episode versus what I did yesterday. But let's start from the beginning. Let me explain. So this is completing week 4 of me being unemployed. My job decided to let me go 4 weeks ago, and it has been hell. It has been absolute hell. Um for one thing, I have never been unemployed this long. Since I was 15, starting working at Arby's, I've always had a job. Even throughout middle school, my parents had me babysitting kids in the neighborhood. So I feel horrible not being at a place of work. And you guys, I have applied everywhere. This past 4 weeks, again, like I said, I make myself apply to 10 places every day. I give myself one day off, and that's Saturday. But besides that, bare minimum of 10 places. That's clocking in at 200 jobs that I have applied to. I have had one interview, one, and it was to a call center for like $15 an hour that I realistically wouldn't have taken anyway due to the values of this place and what I would be calling for. But I didn't get the job anyway. And it is fucking frustrating. I have applied, first of all, I have a degree. I have a degree in marketing. I have over 4+ years of solid sales experience. I even have things on my resume because in college they always preach to do outside of work, have like outside of work involvement. So the whole 2+ years I worked at the radio station, I was involved with the Blue Water Area Young Professionals. I was even a board member. I was the social chair. I just have a pretty good resume to not be hearing back from anything. Anything. I've applied to marketing jobs. I have applied to sales jobs. I've applied to office jobs. I've applied to remote jobs. I've applied to the Cincinnati Zoo. I have applied to wash kennels at a doggy daycare. I've applied to be the person that picks up the recycling bins on the side of the road. I have applied to work at hotels. I have applied to work at um like the doctor's office, but like scheduling, like front desk receptionist type jobs. I've applied to probably 100 of the jobs I applied to were call center jobs, retail jobs, Costco, Kroger, Target, Walmart, everywhere. And I have not heard back from anyone. And it is slowly starting to drive me insane and it makes me feel like shit. Like, just, it's not even like I'm 2 steps into an interview and then they're like, "Oh, we went with this more qualified person." I'm not even getting fucking interviews. And it is driving me insane. Leading us to issue number 2. Because I'm still unemployed, I obviously have not received a paycheck in a month. when my job hired me and moved me down here, which I can say the job's name now, TQL, Total Quality Logistics. Don't work there. Don't let anyone ever work there that you know. It is a shit fuck company that literally only cares about numbers and does not care about people at all. I could make a whole episode of the horror stories of the people that I've just seen have to quit or get fired, or the reasons that they get fired, the reasons that they quit. I could do a whole episode about it. Don't work for that company. Anyway, when they moved me down here, they gave me a sign-on bonus. The week they let me go um was going to be my pay week, but because of that sign-on bonus, they held my last check. And I already lived paycheck to paycheck. This episode is just going to go. Let me pause for a second. Growing up with social media always like shoved in our face, I think we are so accustomed to only seeing people show, look how good my life is doing this. Look how good my life is going on these trips. And look how happy me and my family are. Look how perfect everything that I'm doing is. And then you end up finding out all these scandals. Like there's abuse going on in this home. They're bankrupt in this home. And there's scandals going on in this one. Look at the Ruby Frankie documentary. Like you end up finding out that these people aren't happy. And I wanted to take my podcast approach with the opposite. Like, look at what can come from being in such a shit fuck situation. So, this episode is me being completely blunt and honest about everything that I'm going through that has happened in this past month. I already lived paycheck to paycheck. I'm talking like $15 in my account before my next paycheck hit. So when TQL held my last check and I didn't get paid, that was that was pretty fucking detrimental to me, because now June bills aren't getting paid. My credit took quite the hit in June from not being able to pay my bills. Obviously, my biggest concern was having to pay rent. I can't find a job at all. And when I applied for unemployment a couple days after getting let go, turns out, because again, this is my luck per usual, Kentucky's like the worst unemployment state. So I got approved, but they told me that it can take up to 4 months to receive payment. And when you Google Kentucky unemployment, I'm not making this up, the first 20 articles you're going to see is it all talking about how outdated the system is, how backed up the system is, how incredibly frustrated everyone is that they're not getting paid. Some people have waited 6+ months to get paid. It's like a shit show. I, and on top of not being able to find a job, my car is currently fucked right now. If you haven't been following me on Snapchat, or I don't know if I posted anything on my Instagram either, I had to have a recall part replaced because it was doing really, really bad. And it turns out it needs a whole new transmission, which they quoted it at $5,200. No way, Jose, was I able to do that. So I got the recall part fixed, but my car still struggles to get going when I turn it on. And that has made it so I can't do Instacart, Uber Eats, Amazon Flex, anything on the side or an additional income to help with anything. I haven't been able to do, because knowing my luck, I would go to make a delivery somewhere and I would like get stuck in someone's driveway. Like I would literally be make the delivery, go back to my car, try to leave, and then have to go back up to the house and be like, "Hey, I hope you guys don't have to go anywhere for the next hour, because we're all going to have to collectively wait for a tow truck to come and get my car because it's not moving." And I did not want to run into that scenario. First of all, because I can't afford a tow truck, but I how embarrassing. So I haven't been able to do that. So for the past month, I have had less than $50 in my bank account for weeks and weeks and weeks. And I know sometimes you see on social media people be like, when I say I'm broke and I can't go out this weekend, that doesn't mean I don't have thousands in my savings. I just know I can't spend money out of my checking account this weekend. I want you guys to know that that is not me. My savings account is $0 and 0 cents. I have no cash. I have nothing else. I have had less than $50 in my bank account for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. I went to Bonnaroo with like $42 in my account. It ended up getting canceled. So when I got sent home, obviously I was able to utilize that money for other things, but I have had no more than, and the only reason I have that money now is I've had to unfortunately sell clothes. Some of my antique jewelry that I really, really love, I did have to sell. But I figured if I'm not wearing these clothes, if I'm not wearing this jewelry, like basically I just had the jewelry to look at because I never have any on. These are my permanent ones that I absolutely love, and they're really the only ones that I wear. But I've had to sell clothes, I've had to sell my jewelry to make sure that I have gas money to pick up a couple groceries, to just do bare basic necessities. But the other side of things that I want to talk about is the mental strain of this past month because I am unwell. I'm very, 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 very unwell. It is horrible to spend 4+ weeks on straight survival mode. I had to, when I would wake up and say, okay, I'm going to sell these couple things, I would make sure that I put like $4 in my gas tank just to get me to the store to make 20 to 30 bucks off of a couple clothes that I would sell, trying to build up enough to pay off some of my bills because like I said, nothing's getting paid. I'm probably a week from the lights getting shut off. The reason that I couldn't do the YouTube video yesterday was my Wi-Fi shut off. Um, so I haven't had Wi-Fi in a couple weeks. So it's been pretty quiet in my apartment because I can't use my TV. I already had to cancel my subscriptions beforehand, like all my streaming services, because those were actually the first to go by my doing. Because I was like, well, I can't have $50 in my bank account and wake up and it's all gone tomorrow from Netflix, Hulu, and Paramount. Like, what the fuck? So I canceled those, which again, like I just said, it worked out anyway because my Wi Fi ended up getting canceled and I couldn't use them anyway. So I've been having to go anytime, like, I would have to go to Starbucks to use their Wi Fi to apply for jobs off of my laptop for ones that were more intense that I couldn't do on my phone. And the only reason I got a drink every once in a while at Starbucks is because like a month or so ago, when I was home previously, like a few times ago, my dad got me a Starbucks gift card. It's the only reason I've been able to get a drink there. But not having anyone call you back, not being able to pay a single bill, having to ration everything. You guys, I had a box of pancake mix that I would have to make for like lunch or for dinner. I maybe had a couple granola bars. I had a thing of peanut butter, a couple crackers. Like, I could not afford anything, absolutely anything. When I went home, the only reason I could go home last week is because my parents generously paid for my gas when I told them I was having money problems. And my mom took me grocery shopping to get a couple things so that I was able to eat something. They don't know how bad it is. They just thought they were adding on to a couple groceries that I already got and were just helping me out. Little do they know the groceries that they bought me, I have still been living off of. And that, when you already deal with mental health issues, this past month has just drove me into the ground. I am exhausted. I am exhausted from being on survival mode for this long. My brain feels like it's swollen. I think I've had a migraine since like June 4th. And like literally, I go to bed at like 3, 4 in the morning because my brain just does not stop stressing and worrying. And and then I wake up like A couple hours later, literally barely getting any sleep. But the reason I wake up is because my heart is pounding and racing so bad that I instantly am awake and into a panic attack every morning for the past 4 plus weeks. That's how it's been. Stay up extremely late at night because I can't fall asleep because I'm so scared and worried. And then I instantly wake up in a panic attack. And it's just like my brain has been in a fog. I can't think. I can't function. I've just been scared. I've been so scared. And it is just like 0 out of 10. It is a complete 0 out of 10. That's why I couldn't do an episode last week. And that sucks for me to think that something I'm newly starting out at, that I already failed by missing a week, but I could not form a single sentence or process a single thought last week. And I also want to say, if any of you out there have thought like, "Oh, Sarah hasn't been like really responsive. Sarah hasn't been like the best, the best friend to reach out to these past couple weeks." I sincerely apologize. I It's like a daze when you're trying to survive and you have collections calling you 5 times a day, every day, and you have the threat of getting evicted over your head, and no one is calling you back for a job, and Wi-Fi gets shut off first bill to go. You're scared about when the lights are going to go, and you're just in straight panic mode. I have no room in my brain for any other thought, honestly. And so yesterday was my scariest moment of everything because my apartment complex called me, and they basically, which I knew this was coming. It's just if you also deal with anxiety, you know the thought of pushing things off to the last minute because you just physically can't deal with it. They called and were like, um you have until Monday to pay or we're evicting you. And I think all the fear and the stress and the anxiety just all built up, just all came out of me at once. And I was just in a very, very dark mindset because I knew I finally had to go. I was like, I have to go to my parents now. I don't know what to do. I'm scared. My back's against the wall and I don't know what to do anymore. And I'm just over it. And I cried and cried and cried and cried and cried. And throughout these past couple weeks, I've been crying. But yesterday was just like a new level of just pure terror, honestly, which is why I want to release what I recorded yesterday. I think just so you can hear the mindset difference because of what ended up happening this morning, and just so you can kind of get more of the raw emotion of what I was going through, cuz yesterday's a little bit more, I think a little bit more deep maybe. um but I also cried because I was sad about leaving. I knew being unemployed and needing help with rent and having no job lined up, unemployment's not paying me. Most likely my parents would have again strongly suggested and most likely made me, if they were going to be paying my rent, to move back home. And to me that was a failure of being down here. Even though it was out of my control getting fired, it's out of my control that our economy is absolute dog shit. It's out of my control that no one wants to hire me, apparently. What's in my control is how hard I've been applying and doing everything that I possibly can, making sure I'm not spending a single cent, um, rationing every item that I had. I had to use some of the money I used from the antique jewelry to buy freaking toilet paper, deodorant, um, just completely a mess. And having to go back to Port Huron, I think would have sent me into a deeper, darker depression than I'm currently experiencing. And again, my parents love me and I love them. Living at home has nothing to do with my parents. It's the mental fact that I'm going to be back in the room I grew up in. The reason I took this job was to escape that mindset, and moving back home into that room, I think would have just done me in for a couple months. I would not have shown my face. I would not have gone out. I would have been locked in my room for a while to get my shit right. And I think, a lot of people were wanting me to tell my parents. And there's a couple reasons that I did not tell them right away. First of all, I didn't think it'd be mission impossible to get a fucking job. Any job. I didn't think it would be this hard. I thought within a week or two of me getting fired, I would reach out to all those places I was applying to, at least have a couple of interviews. By week 3, I would have started somewhere and would have already been getting paid, and maybe just reached out to my parents saying, "Hey, got a new job. Can you at least just do half of rent this month before I get my first paycheck?" But nothing. And then it got to a point where it was too severe to tell them, because here's the thing. I I am so tired of feeling like a financial burden to my parents, especially at 27 years old. It is a lot different fucking up your life at 20 in college than it is living by yourself, 27, hundreds of miles away, and needing way more of the financial assistance. And I'm just exhausted from them having to help me, and I always pay them back. A couple years ago, I detrimentally did something to their finances that I was able to pay them in full to the cent, paid them back for. But it sucks, and I think it's some extra stress of like being an only child and just knowing that I'm it for them. Like this is it for them, and I keep getting put in horrific situations. And it's just, I didn't want to be back in that mindset again of mom and dad, here's my life at rock bottom again. I should just set up camp here because I keep ending up here. But I need help again. Can you pay for this? Can you pay for this? Can you do this? I hate that. I absolutely fucking hate that. And because my parents love me so much, they are extra anxious and worry 10 times the amount when something happens. So they just would have added to my anxiety and stress tenfold to what I was already experiencing down here. Again, out of love, but it wouldn't have helped the situation at all. So I tried to avoid all that as long as I could. Because I did not want to bring them into it. I hate feeling like that. Um, One thing I talked about in the episode that I recorded last night that I wanted to bring up again in this one is, I don't know if anyone is a fan of the Hunger Games. I'm a little bit of a Hunger Games nerd. I love the Hunger Games. It's the only book, not only book series, but the only book in general I've ever read more than once. I own all the movies. I saw them in the movie theater every time they came out. I would watch YouTube videos of it all the time in middle school. I loved, love, love, love the Hunger Games. And one common theme of the Hunger Games is a quote they say a lot throughout the movie, and it is like literal the general gist of the movie is that the only thing stronger than fear is hope. And that's their way of like all the districts hating the capital, hating what's going on, and even though they're so scared, when they start to unite and come together to do all this, their hope overpowers their fear of the capital. Like that's the gist of the book and in the movies and everything. But I've had to adapt that in my life multiple times. I think one of the main things that keeps me fucking going is the idea of hope that my life isn't always going to be like this. It absolutely cannot be. I just am very, very, very hopeful for a better future for myself. I believe that one day I will be able to lay my head down at night and not be scared for the next day. I believe that there will be a time when I wake up in the morning not fearful and traumatized of what is going to happen through the day. I'm hopeful that there'll be a time when I get to go to the grocery store with more than $30 and be able to grocery shop and have all my bills paid on time. And I'm not just talking about the past month, but this has been a general theme of mine for fucking ever. And it has been I think a long time, even pre moving down to Kentucky. It's been a long, long time since I've been like authentically happy with my life. I've never sat down and was like, wow, I'm so happy with where I'm at with what I'm doing. And I'm hopeful that that will change. And I think those thoughts of hope is that light at the end of the tunnel for me. And sometimes that light is fucking dim. I will say, let me tell you, that light can go quite dim, but it's always there. It's always still lit. We always have that hope. And I think that is the main thing that keeps me going, is to be delusional about the fact that one day I won't live like this. And that is just like a big theme for me right now. But the reason that I I'm switching up the video today from yesterday's is yesterday, after I found out about the eviction notice for Monday. um I I packed a bag and I was like, this is it. I am finally going to have to go home. I'm going to have to use the last little bit in my bank account to get gas. I'm going to have to drive home. I was going to surprise attack my mom basically at work was my plan. I was going to leave here at like 8 in the morning, get to her office at like 1 or 2 and be like, "Hey, surprise, I'm home because I got fired." I was going to tell her it's only been 2 weeks without unemployment and that I just needed help with rent. I wasn't going to bring up the other bills because I didn't want my parents involved in all my finances. I was just going to tell them about rent, and then I was basically going to be like, you have to come and help me move back home. Like, I'm so over it. But when I woke up this morning to check to make sure I still had that 30 some dollars in my account to get me home, my unemployment for the past month was deposited into my account. So I got to make my rent payment. I got to make my Wi-Fi payment. So I was able to do the video today. I'll be able to upload everything today. And I just can't express the weight lifted off my shoulders seeing that in my account. A little bit after, I actually fell back asleep for a couple hours, and it's the only time I have slept these past like 6 weeks without my heart going 100 miles an hour. My brain feels less swollen today. And the title of this episode, Down Bad, even though I got my unemployment today, to throw another Taylor Swift pun at you, we aren't out of the woods yet. Okay? Unemployment is not a 55 plus $1,000 a year salary job. It's bare minimum payments to get you by, but it at least buys me time so that I can keep my apartment. I can look for a job that I can stay down here because I was really, really brokenhearted about leaving. I would have missed seeing my little animal friends at the Cincinnati Zoo. I would have missed my beautiful lookout spot that I love walking around of the Cincinnati skyline. I would have missed hanging out with Hannah and us trying all the restaurants, us getting to explore Covington, such a cool area down here. The mountain views, the bison. I would have I it just would have made me uh pretty sad to have to leave, and that was also part of my sadness yesterday is I still have a lot I want to do down here. And that just would have broke my heart. It would have broke my heart. So, although I'm still going to be struggling with payments, it's going to take me a while to catch up on bills. My credit score is shot, to say the least, but at least my rent's paid. My Wi-Fi's back on. I don't have to drive to Starbucks to apply to 10 to 20 jobs every day. I can stay on the hunt, and look for something that's really going to help me. And I'm still going to be extreme extreme with the budgeting, extreme with the finances. This doesn't mean I get to go out tonight and party it up in downtown Cincinnati that I would absolutely love to do. I can't. I still just don't have the money to do things, but at least things are getting paid. At least things are getting paid. The other thing I wanted to talk about is, you know, with me talking about being hopeful and things like that, I hope that whenever you guys are going through something dark and scary and mental health wise, that you don't lose your light at the end of the tunnel, that you stay hopeful, that you stay positive, that you stay delusional. Things are going to work out because if you just keep that attitude and keep going and keep pushing, I promise something in the future will break through for you. That the light does get dim. I'm very well aware. But just got to keep pushing forward through these horrific times. And like I said, we're just gonna stay hopeful, delusional, and crazy that one day it's not gonna be like this. Um, but if you follow me on Instagram, if you follow me on kind of anything else, you know that I love a good manifestation day. Me, you, the phone you're watching me on, the computer you're watching me on, the car you're driving, listening to me on, the clothes you're wearing. It is a scientific fact that everything is made up of vibrating energies. That's literally a scientific fact. That's 100% real. Where the manifestation belief comes in is that, if you send out positive energy, positive thoughts, these manifestation vibes, that these positive energies will find you. And that's kind of just like the basis of it. You're just trying to attract good things to finally come your way. So 7/7 was a huge manifestation day on Monday. Supposed to be like a big, in terms of the numbers, 7/7. It's supposed to be like a big day to just kind of get out to the universe what you're looking for. And if you're watching on YouTube, I'm going to show you guys. I have this like little manifestation journal that I got. I love it. Whenever there's like a special day, it's usually like a full moon, the blood moon, pink moon, things like that are always supposed to like enhance those positive energies. Those are days you're supposed to just really sit down and manifest for things. And there's ways to manifest, right? You don't sit there and say, I manifest $2 million to be in my bank account tomorrow. That's a wish. Manifesting's like a little bit different. So I took 4 pages of my journal and I wrote down 4 different manifestations that I had like per page. So one page I just repeatedly wrote manifestation one, page two, repeatedly wrote manifestation two. As you can see, I have my little astrology candle back here. I have like all my crystals. I love my crystals. And I just sat down in silence, partly because I didn't have Wi Fi to listen to anything. But I sat in silence. I lit my candle and I was just like, universe, whoever's up there, out there looking over me, here are the things that I need help with. I'm struggling. I'm in a very dark and bad place, and I really need your help. So on 7/7, I wrote the date. I repeatedly wrote, my unemployment money will come this week. And, as I said in the beginning of the podcast, I was told it could take up to 4 months. And I was truly scared it would. Today is month one. And, it just, coincidence or not, depending on if you believe in that sort of thing. But it was deposited today. Regardless, you can't prove that it wasn't because of that. So I thought that was pretty cool. My other 3 manifestations I think are going to be more long term things that I just work towards every day that I'm hopeful for again. So I didn't quite expect those to come into effect this week, but at some point in the future, it would be nice if they did. So I'll keep on manifesting those. But I thought that one was pretty cool. Another big thing you guys know that I'm battling is my student loan debt. I owe $250,000 to Sally Mae. I'm not afraid to say that amount because fuck you, Sally Mae. And I decided, because of my current state right now, well, there's two reasons. There's two reasons I decided this, but I will be going back to school. I'm going into a master's program. So it won't be my MBA because I talked with a career advisor at Southern New Hampshire. That's where I'll be going, so I can attend part time and online. And instead of getting my MBA, because I already have my BBA, they thought it might be a little bit better to go into a more focused field. So I will be getting my Master's of Science with a focus on digital marketing. So I'll have a little MS next to my name now. And I actually am excited to go back to school. And again, here's the two reasons I decided to do that. I can't make these thousands and thousands of dollar payments each month that Sally Mae wants. I can't do it. I have no savings. I currently have no job. I can't. My parents can't. My parents aren't rich. No one in my family can just drop $250,000 to get me out of student loan debt. So since I can't make those payments, since my parents can't, option one is not making them, and then I tank everyone's credit. And that's horrific. My parents have their own future and plans that they want to do. I can't take them down with me just because I fucked up with Sally Mae. The other issue is being unemployed and tanking my credit. I can't apply to refinance. What place is going to be like, sure, here's $250,000, you unemployed bitch. See how you pay us back with that. It's all good. Don't worry about it. No one's going to do that. No one's going to do that. Reason number two, I am done with this career chase. I fucking hate sales. I am done being in sales. They say sales is the intro to marketing. I have sales experience up the fucking ass. I'm good with that. I am done with this rat race fucking job of getting jobs that are paying $38,000 to $41,000 a year when I have a degree in what they're asking. It's just bullshit. And I can't figure out what I want to do because I'm not getting into marketing roles and it's driving me nuts. Any entry level marketing role is just a fancy way for them to say sales. Any career that I look into that I want, that I like, that I see posted always requires a higher education. And thankfully, with Southern New Hampshire University, they have a special careers program. So if you do advance your education, they have people specialized in helping you, whether it's a master's, a PhD, a doctorate, whatever it is, getting employed in your field for a very good paying amount so that you have that career by the time you graduate. So not only do I have 2 years to build up a savings to repair my credit and to have a good paying job when I leave school again, I'll be able to refinance and actually make payments on my loan. So for those of you like, oh, that's not a good idea to extend, I don't have a choice but to extend my debt. The damage is already done. Another loan is not going to make or break it. It's already done. The damage is already done. I can't pay it back. So I actually am looking forward to going back to school, to furthering my education. I personally would have liked it to have been a time when my employer paid for it or a little bit less chaotic time in my life. But what the fuck ever. All I do is hustle and grind. Let's add another degree on fucking top of it. And then the idea that when I graduate, I actually have help getting a very good paying career with that through Southern New Hampshire. Again, like I said in the first video, I recommend that school to anyone. They're the most organized, most helpful, most just like put together fucking school. I didn't experience half this stuff with Western. Don't regret going to Western because it's that out of classroom experience that you get going away to college. But I love Southern New Hampshire University. And I'm very excited to accept their help after my degree of my master's in science and actually being able to put that to use. Um, it's it's been a crazy month. Today I feel more settled. Today I feel like I can actually think again. I'm very excited this weekend to clean my mental health boys and girlies know that when you kind of get yourself into a rut, things tend to get like let let go. Kind of let yourself go, the apartment go. And yeah, every once in a while you get into a rut where I'll have like a bad week, and then on Sunday I'm like, okay, time to pick the place up a little bit. Let's get it together. My apartment is a nightmare. My apartment is a disgusting mess because I did not have the physical or mental strength to fucking do anything. So this weekend I'm excited to clean. I'm excited to have this little bit of spark in me now that I know I get to stay here for at least another month. Now that I know my Wi-Fi's back on, I can watch some of my shows. I've been pretty heavily on the TikTok live grind, which I have found some people that I love to watch, and I will continue watching them. I was a TikTok live hater at first, but I'm here for these couple accounts that I followed. But I'm excited to have my shows back on, and just to deep clean the inside of this place, bring it back to life a little bit. Like I had to bring myself back to life doing this shit. And know that shit is still going to be a grind. Like I said, it's still a struggle. Getting an unemployment check wasn't a one all solution. I'm still very behind on bills. I'm still getting my shit together. But it but again, it's that light at the end of the tunnel. And that light at the end of the tunnel got a little bit brighter today when it was starting to flicker out this past week. So we just keep hoping. We just keep hoping. Do not lose hope. Just keep on trucking forward, and we're going to continue to get through everything, one day at a time, 1 hour at a time. But like I said, I'm looking forward to cleaning. I'm looking forward to getting a good night's sleep this night and watching some of my Netflix documentaries. Sorry this episode seemed like a little bit kind of a Debbie Downer, but like I said with the social media in the beginning, I'm just trying to be real and honest with you guys and take you through my life's journey with this podcast. Yeah, a lot of that life's journey involved what I did in college and kind of that first year or two out of college. But shit's still going on. Shit continues to still happen and go on. And those of you watching now are the important ones who are going to see, hopefully a year or two from now, when my life is a complete 180 from this day. You're going to go, wow, it was so cool to watch her journey from having $43 in her bank account to look at where she is now. Look at what she's doing now. And that's also something that keeps me going too, trying to be accountable for this podcast. I'm sorry I missed last week. I know we were supposed to have a special guest, but things have just been out of whack, out of line. Hopefully I'll have a special guest for you guys soon. As always, per usual, I appreciate all the love, all the support. This isn't a poor Sarah pity party episode. This is just me being authentic and showing you guys the side of life that I feel is less common to see on social media than the look at my perfect life social media. And I don't care to be open and honest. I'm an open book, basically. What do I fucking care if you guys know or not? But thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. Your support, whether on any platform, your support, listening, sharing, posting, liking, commenting, has really gotten me through this past month, specifically. I love you guys more than you know. I think about you guys all the time. And like I always say, this podcast is like one of the main things that keeps me pushing, keeps me going, keeps me grinding, and that's what we're going to continue to work for. I love you all so much. TGI fucking F, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you have a good, fun, safe weekend, and I will see you here, same place, but on Thursday, hopefully next week, not Friday. So same place, different time, but I'll see you here next Thursday. I love you all.